What's going on, guys? Welcome back to our pit stop. Today I want to show you guys how to change the rear brake pads on a this is a 2015 Jeep Cherokee. It should apply to 2015 to 2017, I believe, maybe other models, but I wanted to make a video on this because before you start this brake job, you got to do a certain procedure inside the vehicle first. I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not sure if it applies to all the Jeep Cherokee models. This one is the top of the line model. It's the limited, and it's got you know, all the heated cooled seats, all that stuff, panoramic sunroof. So like I said, I'm not sure if it applies to all the Jeep Cherokees, but yeah, let's get started. So first off, what you want to do is so let's put the car in run mode, not necessarily turning on the car all the way. Let's close this door. All right, so in this screen, what you want to do is let's we'll go to settings, and then we'll all right, never mind, I guess I can't get autofocus to work, but anyways, you guys can see where I'm at. We're gonna press on brakes, or no, brakes.
Are such a...
And then right here where it says surface mode, we're gonna click that. It says, would you like to retract brake to allow for brake system service? And yes, I would. Click yes, we'll wait for that. And you'll hear like a buzzing sound in the back. So now that it's retracted, let's go back there. Obviously, you're gonna wanna break the lugs loose. However, in my case, I have air tools, so I got powerful air tools, so I'll just go ahead and zip those off. Got it jacked up, jack stands and jack, nice and safe. You will need a 19 mil for the lug nuts, swivel head socket, wrench, or whatever, ratchet. You will need a 10 millimeter short head and a 17 mil wrench, and obviously your brake pads. So I already did this side to experiment, and now that I'm confident enough, we're going to do the other side. And for my brake pads, I went ahead and got these TRW brake pads. They were an Amazon open box item. So instead of paying like 40 bucks for the rear brake pads, I got these for $7 shipped to my door. Sweet. What I need is a caliper compressor tool to compress that piston and the caliper. All right. We'll go ahead and zip these lug nuts off with the 19. If you don't have powerful air tools, I suggest that you break these lugs free while it's on the ground. All right. Now, because this is, I don't know if it's because it's a Chrysler product or whatever, but it's got those lug nuts that swell up. So what I recommend doing is I'm gonna go ahead and like give it a quick zip just to break it loose, and then I won't pull it out all the way. I'll leave it like several threads in there. That way I can kind of wiggle this off. So what I mean is, like, get it on there good, zip it, and while it's loose, just kind of, because it's easier to break this off, or you know, to pull the socket off of the lug nut while it's threaded, versus you trying to pull it out from the socket with your hand. There you go. All right. So I don't know if about the previous owner, but I don't think he changed these brake pads in a long time or serviced anything back here for a long time. So these are on there good. I know the other side was. So if it's on there good, you just give it a couple of kicks on. All around. It should fall out. Put that aside for now. Grab your 10 millimeter ratcheting wrench with your short 10 millimeter socket. Go ahead and There's a 10 mil up here and a 10 mil down here that you're gonna wanna take off. The first 10 mil is just the bolt that's holding in this bracket. Okay. So the up top, the 10 millimeter is just a bolt. Well, the first 10 mil is gonna be a bolt, and that's to support this bracket. You're gonna go ahead and remove this, kind of set it aside, like bring it in front of the caliper and set it right there. Then you're gonna break the bottom one loose. It's another 10 mil. All right, so if you guys can see, there's a like a bolt on the inside, or a nut on the inside here that's not grabbing. So this is when you grab your 17 wrench to kind of hold it in place while you break this bolt out and break it loose. Bottom one's going to be a bolt, 10 mil. Up top. So now that that bracket's moved out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and see if this will break loose. There, okay. Same thing up top. You're going to need to hold that bolt in place on the inside. That's the one out the top. Now you're gonna go ahead and pry this caliper off of the brake, off the brake pads. Something to just pry it out with. So go ahead and pry these pads out. Now these pads weren't that bad. They still have some life, but the front ones were so bad, and I had to change those out, so I assumed that the rear ones were in the same condition. But whatever, I got them for $6 or $7. All right, so you're gonna move the these clips, these metal clips off the top and bottom. Just kind of pry them out. So the bottom one you just pry up, top one pry down, and they should just pop right off. Same thing on the inside. So just kind of find a good spot to hold it and pops right out. Same thing with the bottom. All right. So it's pretty rusty on these caliper, whatever these are called. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try to just kind of scrape a lot of this rust off, just so that when I go to install the new clips, I have space to put the pad in. Go ahead and install these clips. Push them into place. You guys can see how it looks with the new clips installed. You really can't get these wrong. Trying to push that a little bit more. There you go. And now to get the pads on, you're gonna have to give it a little bit of muscle. But what I found worked for me is I'll seat the bottom one in first. So over here, try to get the bottom in first. And then it's kind of hard with my okay, I think I'm gonna go get a mallet or a hammer just to kind of force this bad boy in. Alright, other side. Same thing, kind of seat it from the bottom. And then muscle it in from the top, best you can. Just give it a couple taps. There we go. All right, to get the piston seated back in, so what I did is I got my my piston compressing tool, got the old brake pad in there, and then what we're gonna do is go ahead and twist this. All right, let's see if we can do this one-handedly. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and twist this all the way until the piston is compressed flat. And then, now every time I do a brake job, I always like to grease the slider pins. Over here I have some it's extreme pressure lithium grease. This is high temp grade 2. It's just like a generic grease. Just make sure it's, you know, high pressure and can handle the temperatures. What we're gonna do is pop that open, and then these slider pins, you should be able to just kind of slide them out, twist them a little bit. Just make sure you don't rip the rubber grommet off. Just kind of go gentle on it. Go ahead and pull that out. What I like to do is wipe these clean. Get you a somewhat clean wash rag or shop rag. Wipe all the old grease off of it. Make sure there's no debris or anything like that. And then get some of that grease and just kind of coat it a little bit with some of that grease. So just like that. That might even be a little too much, but there's nothing wrong with that. So you want to gently get it back in there, and what I like to do is kind of give it a circular motion as I'm getting it in, just to kind of coat the inside with grease. There we go, and then just kind of push it in a little bit, and that rubber grommet thing should pop back onto it. We'll do the same thing with the bottom. Pull that out. Wipe this clean. Okay. Get some of that grease. Get it in there. Give it a little bit of a twist as you're bringing them back in. There we go. And they should be able to slide freely. So I remember my first brake job. It was my first car. It was a 2002 it was a 2002 Nissan Maxima. When I went to go do the brakes, these slider pins were seized in there, rusted in there good. And I thought, oh, you know what? If I just install the new pads and the new rotors and just send it, they might break free. And the rotor actually broke off of the center of off the center hub. Luckily, I took the rotor back in. Well, what happened was the caliper seized, right? Caliper seized, and it seized so hard that the rotor broke off of the center hub. And when I took that part into Advance Auto, they were actually really surprised. They said they've never seen anything like it. A whole bunch of people started taking pictures of it and all that. But yeah, that was my life lesson. Ever since then, I always lubricate the slider pins, try to get them out, and if they're seized in, try to get them out and get them lubricated, or replace the caliper. or else you'll end up with a broken rotor. Yeah, it can't be that bad. Alright, now to get them back installed, just push these slider pins in as you're getting the caliper back on it. Remember, the bolt goes on the bottom. And the one bolt with the nut on it goes up top. And as always, I like to thread things by hand first, and then go ahead and use your tools. So okay, this one, let's see if we need the 17 or not. Okay, put the bracket back on. Actually, before we do that, we want to make sure that everything is tight. Go ahead and use our socket again, or our ratcheting wrench, or ratchet, or whatever. Okay, that's good. Alright, that's good. Not too tight, nothing crazy. Don't go all Hulk on it. Put that bracket back on. Get our 10mm nut here. Thread it back on with your hands. And there you have it. Our new pads are installed. Alright, finally. So what I like to do is get two threaded on there, and then we can go ahead and take our heavy machinery here. Make sure that they're opposite from each other, the two that you put on initially. Just kind of go easy on them, just to kind of seat it in place. That way it's easy for you to guide the rest of the bolts. And as always, you want to do star pattern. Come on. Alright, and then once this is on the ground, you're going to go ahead and re-torque him with your hands. So we are back inside the car. Before you start, you're going to want to get that park brake retreaded. So it says to reset, press brake pedal and activate park brake. So I'm going to go ahead and press the brake pedal and then activate park brake. Hold that up and you're going to hear it kind of make a little whizzing sound in the back, and we are all set. And that's how you do your rear brake pads on a 2015 Jeep Cherokee. Thank you for watching, guys. As always, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date with the shenanigans here at Backyard Pit Stop. If I did anything wrong, or if you have any recommendations for any of the stuff that I did and the steps that I took to get this job done, please feel free to comment below and let me know. If you have any questions regarding what I did today, Again, please comment below. Thank you for watching.